How have you integrated technology into the Warriors organization, whether it's on the court, player related, or off the court behind the scenes? Do you have any examples you want to share? And I think everyone also loves to hear the failure stories too, not just the wins, but also the losses.
Yeah, I'll start with some basketball examples. This actually goes pretty far back, and what's interesting is it's continually iterated over time, but way back in 2012, I believe it was, went to a small conference and learned about what we were told was Israeli missile tracking technology. Turns out maybe that wasn't the entire story, but it was a great pitch, and actually it's a technology. It was basically just motion capture, like three-dimensional motion capture, what I guess you call now volumetric capture technology, and it allowed us to really understand what was going on the court. Now, at the time, we had the technology to gather the information, but not necessarily do anything valuable with it. It took a few years to start to figure that out. The technology had to get better and better. But there was a specific point I remember probably about 10 years ago now, where we were trying to figure out what was wrong. We weren't very good at this point, and we were trying to figure out what was going wrong with our defense. Why were we allowing so many corner three-pointers? And we used that technology to give us kind of a general sense of how these shots were how we were getting to that point. And we were able to have our coaching staff take a look using the data and go practice some different things. And lo and behold, that number came down. Now, we don't know for sure if that's exactly what caused the change, because within the season there's a lot of sort of random small sample size events. But that was kind of our first iteration. We are now at a point where that technology is pretty good, and there's actually a new company who probably many of you have heard of through either golf or tennis called Hawkeye that has really advanced that. But we are now we're taking probably millions and millions of data points per game, and that's 24 frames per second following around the ball. All 5 players on our team, all 5 on the other team, and what the NBA won't tell you, also the referees. We don't get that information. They make sure to pull that out for their own purposes. But you really now can, if you have the programming capability, you can really figure out anything. And so it really becomes, what is your question? You know, the world's your oyster. Like, what do you want to know? So that's a really cool, I think, technological innovation over the last 12 years. To the point where we can tell you anything that is happening on the court.
We worked with our partner Accenture to custom build a Warriors Chase Center app. We just thought it was important to have kind of that customized remote control. You know, these other more cookie cutter apps are like get 1 or 2 updates a year. I think we do like 45 updates a year. So we're able to customize it and create that right experience. You know, one of the subjects everyone wants to talk about now is AI. Google Cloud's our official AI partner. So we're working on a whole host of things with them. Some of them, like, I would say relatively elementary. You may agree or disagree with that, but you know, chat bots online. But we want to do things like on the basketball side. Maybe I'm giving away trade secrets, but right now, when you want to look at analytics, a lot of it you go to the analytics team and say, okay, hey, can you query this, that, the other thing? We're trying to use AI to get that to be more automated, so that anyone in Kirk's group doesn't have to go to one person or one group, but has that information at their fingertips. We want the same thing for our customer service team. Right now, there's more of a manual process, but we want AI to make that more efficient. It's kind of interesting. Everyone talks about, like, is that going to, less jobs or whatever. We don't view it that way. We just view it as having human beings do things that computers can't. And then the last one I'll give you, you asked about failures. We were the first, talk about first Zaza, we were the first sports team to do an NFT drop. And that was, what date was that? It was in April 22, I think. And subsequent to that, we ended up having a partnership with a company some of you may have heard of. It's called FTX. And we did I guess maybe some of you have heard of it. We did an NFT drop with them, which went fine for a while, and then turned out maybe that wasn't the right platform. But again, those are things. NFTs were hot, maybe not as much right now. Maybe they change in the future. But we do want to take those risks. And for us, not everything's going to work, but you learn from it, right?
Defense is boring, even though he wins the championships. But it's talking about the offense and how the players. And when I was playing, actually, that was one of the cool things that I experienced as a player. And that now I see so many other active players, and especially the kids. Youth is trying to utilize and take advantage of the presence of this product. So basically, your every shot is getting charted, talking about examples, right? Every shot is getting charted, and there are 3 dimensions: the arc, depth of the ball, how he enters in the rim, and the left and right. So these 3 numbers, it really tells you, and then obviously they made the research, and it's got to be 45-degree arc, and depth got to be 11 inches, how he enters inside the rim, and left and right got to be on a 0. So if you get close to the number, the ball goes in 98% of the time. So again, muscle memory, right? Getting feedback after every single shot. And also you see, like, end of the workout, you see the big picture of actually why you were missing. Your shot is kind of left, so maybe shoulder's not square, right? Or if the arc is below 45, let's say it's 41, basically it tells you, okay, maybe you're not using your legs more, right? Maybe you should bend your knees, etc.
We're a sports entertainment company. We have 570 employees. We're trying to win basketball games, do great things in the community, fan experience. So we lean heavily on partners, whether that's startups, by the way, or more established companies like a Google Cloud that help us figure that out so we can be on the cutting edge of what that is. But I think a lot of it is just becoming more efficient. I mean, I can reiterate, again, chatbot kinds of things, the basketball example, querying the site. But we want to be on the cutting edge of what we can do to make our business more efficient, and what we can do to continue to enhance the fan experience.
Well, I mentioned earlier that the technology exists to kind of answer any question we have, and that the question is now is, what are our questions? And Zaza's heard me use this example for it. How many people have read Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? People read that? Okay, not as many as I was hoping. I'm going to ruin the book for you, but it's been out for like 45 years, so I don't feel that bad about it. I won't totally ruin every part, but there's pretty much, the gist of it is there is a supercomputer that's built to answer the question, which is, what is the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and it spits out 42. The rest of the book tries to explore, well, what does 42 mean? Because the supercomputer says you have to build a supercomputer smarter than me to ask the right question. And so I use this example a lot. We don't always know what we want to ask. We might see the end result of something, but we don't know how we got there. We might say, how could we do this better? If we could better ask, how could we do this better, we would get to a better answer. So we have the ability now to answer all these questions. We just need help figuring out, what are we supposed to be asking? That's where Gen AI is really helping us right now. There are so many basketball games played at the professional level, but also every other level. As we collect more and more data, we know more and more about what is going on there, but there's so many moving pieces. It's such a dynamic sport that sometimes even the best, I always say Jerry West has the best basketball computer mind I've ever seen. He processes things. He sees things that no one else sees. And it's just, he's built up this incredible library in his mind, and he processes it so quickly. Hopefully now we're building something that can see every single game out there and use all of that. And so we're building like a super Jerry West. And our hope is that we can now start to basically say, like, what is it that we should be doing to be better on offense? And it might spit out like, don't pass Zaza the ball over there. Have Zaza go stand over here and set a screen. So that's really what the next generation for us using Gen AI is like, how can we help our coaches and our players know what they're supposed to be training for better? What is the kind of next thing that they need to improve on, and have that kind of spit out in an automated fashion.
How many of you like standing in line and going through security when you go to an event? Anyone? Yeah. Pretty important though. So like working with companies that, some of you have seen it, there's a company called Evolve, there's others where you just walk through. Like you don't have to go and take all the stuff out of your pockets and you just walk through. There's a balance between that and what's safer. But there's a lot of stuff. You look at surveillance technology, like things that we're doing to make sure we've got eyes everywhere on the property. So there's things that fans want to hear about, and maybe things that we don't want to think about. But when you're inviting 18,000 people, like having it be very, very safe is very important. In addition to having it be frictionless.